The city screamed around her, not with sound, but with danger. Leilani ran until her lungs burned, until every step was a promise of collapse. She had seen too much, heard too much. And now, the hunters were on her heels, relentless. Her heart hammered against her ribs, each beat a frantic countdown. Her breath was a ragged struggle. The rain, cold and biting, lashed at her face, blurring the desperate world. She pushed past the pain, driven by instinct to survive. The world spun. Darkness clawed at her sight. She stumbled, her legs finally giving out, her body protesting with searing pain. A gasp escaped her lips as she fell, hitting the cold, wet cobblestones hard. The thin, soaked clothes clung to her, chilling her to the marrow. She lay there, defeated, her strength gone. Outside a fortress of shadows and formidable wealth, she lay broken. This wasn't a place she belonged, but it was the end of her frantic run. A heavy gate loomed nearby, a towering barrier, yet now, her only hope. Her pursuers were close, too close. She could hear their shouts, their angry voices cutting through the storm, the crunch of gravel growing louder. Panic flared, a final, desperate surge. She tried to push herself up, but her limbs refused. Then a shadow fell over her. Not the brutal shadow of her hunters, but something different. Tall, immovable. A force that seemed to cut through the rain and the thick fear. He stood over her, a dark, imposing silhouette against the mansion's glowing windows. Jonathan. The name was a chilling whisper in the city's dark underbelly. A name spoken with fear, yet also with profound respect. He was the king of a hidden kingdom built on secrets, on unbreakable power. He was a man of cold, unyielding eyes and decisive decisions. Yet, as he looked down at her, a strange stillness settled. He didn't hesitate. He didn't ask questions. With a single fluid motion, he reached out, his hand large and strong. It slid under her, firm and steady, gathering her weight. He lifted her from the ground, effortlessly. Her body, light and fragile, felt impossibly small in his powerful arms. The rain still fell, but suddenly, the cold, biting wind felt less sharp, less cruel. He held her close, a strange warmth seeping into her chilled skin, a silent promise against the storm. She looked up at him, her vision blurry, her mind struggling to make sense of this impossible rescue. His face was hard, unreadable, etched with a quiet, dangerous intensity. But his voice, when he spoke, it was a low, resonant rumble, a profound promise that cut through the chaos like a honed knife. No one will hurt you again. Those words, simple, profound. They echoed not just in her ears, but deep within her bones. They resonated in the vast, echoing silence of the mansion's grand foyer as he carried her inside. Outside, the world was still full of danger. But within these imposing walls, held secure in his unwavering arms, for the first time, Leilani felt a strange, undeniable sense of peace. This was not the safety she had ever known. This was a different kind of protection, from a vastly different kind of man. And it had just begun, a dangerous, intricate dance. The heavy, ornate mansion doors closed behind them. It was a sound that cut off the world, sealing her in. The angry shouts from outside faded, replaced by an eerie, profound quiet. The air inside was warm, dry, and smelled faintly of wood smoke, old leather, and something expensive, undeniably powerful. Leilani felt herself being carried deeper into the house, past gleaming marble floors and through silent, cavernous hallways. Each step Jonathan took was steady, unyielding. He held her as if she weighed nothing, as if carrying a broken woman through his fortress was an everyday task. Her body ached, a deep, bruising pain. But the raw, paralyzing terror that had driven her for hours, for days, began to recede, replaced by a dizzying, overwhelming exhaustion that promised oblivion. Who was this man, really? Jonathan Nolan. The name was a shiver down the spine of the entire city, a legend whispered in hushed, terrified tones. They said he was cold, utterly ruthless, a shadow lord who controlled everything from the docks to the high-rise towers. And now, she was inexplicably in his arms, utterly at his mercy. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had run from one kind of monster only to fall directly into the lair of another. Or was he? His grip was firm, undeniably strong, but it wasn't rough or violent. It was protective, almost. The thought was strange, unsettling. He didn't speak another word. Not to her, not to the quiet, efficient nurse who appeared as if by magic. His eyes, however, spoke volumes. They were dark, intense, scanning her face, her bruised arms, her muddied clothes. A silent, unspoken command passed between him and the nurse. The message was clear. Care for her. Protect her. He laid her gently, with surprising tenderness, on a large, impossibly soft bed. The contrast from the cold, hard, wet cobblestones was jarring, almost dreamlike. The warmth of the heavy, luxurious blankets, the plush softness of the pillows, felt like an impossible, undeserved luxury. Leilani watched him, her breath shallow. He stood by the bed for a moment, his gaze unreadable, a fortress of a man. He was a force of nature, contained and coiled. His retreat was as silent as his arrival. He left the room, leaving her with the kind nurse, with the quiet luxury, and with 1,000 unanswered questions. Who were the men chasing her? What had she seen that made them so determined to silence her? And what did Jonathan Nolan truly want with her? The words he had spoken outside echoed again. No one will hurt you again. Was it a promise? A chilling threat? Or a declaration of ownership? She didn't know. Her head pounded. Her vision swam. The nurse, with a kind face and gentle hands, began to tend to her superficial wounds. The pain was real, sharp at times, but it was distant, dulled by her overwhelming exhaustion. Sleep pulled at her, a dark, tempting current, promising escape. But even as she drifted, fragments of the past few days flashed behind her eyelids. The hushed, angry conversation she'd overheard, the cold, metallic glint of the gun, the terrified, pleading face of the woman who had begged for her silence. Leilani had been in the wrong place, seen something that could utterly destroy a powerful, ruthless man. Not Jonathan, she knew that. Another man. A dangerous rival. One who would stop at nothing to protect his secrets. She had been marked. A target. And now she was trapped in a gilded cage. But the cage was warm. It was safe, in its own terrifying way. For now. As sleep finally claimed her, a single, clear, agonizing thought surfaced. Her little sister, Mia. Mia was the reason she ran, the reason she fought. Was Mia safe? Had her desperate efforts bought her sister enough time? The world might be dark, filled with shadows and dangerous men. But Leilani knew one thing with absolute certainty. She would endure. She would find a way. Even if it meant facing the devil himself, Jonathan Nolan, she would find a way to protect her sister. This was not the end of her story. This was only the beginning of a far more dangerous, intricate game. And she was, unknowingly, Jonathan's newest, most valuable piece on the board. The heavy quiet of the mansion settled around her, a profound promise and an unfathomable mystery all at once. The world was still, silent. She was no longer running. The pounding rain, the fear, the cold. It all felt like a fading nightmare. Sunlight, soft and gentle, filtered through the luxurious curtains. Leilani blinked, trying to make full sense of her new reality. Her body ached, but the desperate terror had lessened its grip. She was safe. For now. The words echoed in her mind. No one will hurt you again. Jonathan Nolan's voice. Deep. Confident. A promise or a warning? She wasn't entirely sure which. A quiet movement drew her attention. The nurse entered with a silver tray. Warm broth, fresh fruit, and steaming tea. Food. She hadn't truly eaten in days. The nurse smiled gently. You're awake. That's good. Master Nolan instructed you be given anything you need. Her words were soft, polite, but held an underlying tone of absolute obedience. Leilani took the glass of water. It was cold, pure, refreshing. Eating felt like a strange betrayal of the fear that still clung to her, a small step towards normal life. But nothing about this situation was normal. She was a bird in a gilded cage. Safe from the hunters, yes, but undeniably trapped by the formidable hunter who had saved her. Her mind, now no longer completely clouded by raw survival instinct, began to race. The past few days returned with brutal clarity. The hushed, angry argument. The cold, metallic glint of the gun. The look of pure terror on the murdered woman's face. Leilani had been in the wrong place at the very wrongest time, had seen something that could utterly destroy a powerful, dangerous man. A man not named Jonathan, but a rival. A man who had decided she was a loose end. A witness. A problem that needed to be erased. She had run without thinking, fueled by desperate adrenaline. Not just for herself, but for Mia. Her sister. Her little sister, only 9 years old. Mia was her reason for breathing, her reason for fighting. Leilani had frantically arranged for Mia to stay with their aunt, telling her it was a short, exciting vacation. A desperate lie, crafted to protect her. Was Mia truly safe now? The worry was a constant, dull ache in her chest. Leilani put down her spoon, her face shadowed with worry. She looked up, meeting the nurse's gaze, a silent plea in her eyes. My sister. Is she safe? The nurse's gentle smile faltered slightly. She simply shook her head. No. She couldn't answer. That question, Leilani realized, was for the man who owned this house. The man who now, by saving her, owned her very life. A heavy, oppressive silence filled the room. Leilani knew then that her fight wasn't truly over. It had only changed. The immediate threat was gone, but a new, more complex, and perhaps even more dangerous form had taken its place. She was a pawn, traded from one powerful hand to another. The air in the room shifted. A sudden drop in temperature, a tightening of the atmosphere. Jonathan stood in the doorway, a dark, imposing silhouette. He was dressed in impeccably tailored dark clothing. His presence filled the room instantly. His eyes, cold and sharp, met hers with an unyielding intensity. He didn't smile. He rarely did. His gaze swept over her, taking in her bruised face, the fresh bandages, the lingering exhaustion. A flicker of something, too brief to name, crossed his formidable features. He walked further into the room, his steps slow and deliberate, like a predator staking its claim. He stopped several feet from the bed, his hands clasped behind his back, an unreadable statue of a man. You are stronger now. Good. We need to talk. His voice was a low growl, a rumble that vibrated through the quiet room. It held no warmth, no comfort, but also no obvious immediate threat. Just cold, hard fact. A direct, unequivocal statement. Leilani swallowed hard, her heart beginning to beat faster again. This was it. The moment of truth. She was in his house, under his protection. But what would that protection truly cost her? She had a feeling the price would be everything. She had seen the danger. She had run. Now she would face it, head on. For Mia. She would. Her resolve hardened. The air was thick with unspoken tension. Leilani knew this moment was key. She was no longer just a terrified woman running for her life. She was in his territory, and he demanded answers. His dark eyes seemed to peel away her defenses. She could feel the immense power radiating from him, a silent, heavy weight. This was not a man to lie to. What did you see? Tell me everything. No details left out. His voice was a low, steady command. Leilani hesitated, her mind racing. The memory was excruciatingly clear. A chilling snapshot burned into her brain. She had been working late, cleaning offices, taking an extra shift. She had heard voices, muffled but angry, from the executive suite. Curiosity had drawn her closer. She'd seen them through a half-open door. 2 men. One she knew as Mr. Petrov, a ruthless developer. The other, a brutal enforcer with a scarred face. And then, the woman. I was at work. Late. I saw Mr. Petrov. He was talking to another man. A very large, intimidating man. And a woman. She was crying. Begging. She had papers in her hand. Something about land. A new building project. Petrov was furious. He said she was trying to warn people, to expose him. He violently took the papers. And then, the other man, he hurt her. Badly. She didn't make it. They saw me. One of them looked up. I ran. Petrov. He is a fool. And a dangerous liability. Jonathan's face remained impassive, but a dangerous, cold glint entered his dark eyes. Petrov. The name clearly meant something profound to him. A rival, a challenger, a growing threat to his empire. He walked closer, his imposing presence filling her personal space. Leilani unconsciously recoiled, her heart thumping. You spoke of a sister. Mia. She is safe. For now. My people collected her from your aunt's home. She is with others. Protected. She believes she is on an extended holiday. Leilani gasped, her eyes wide with shock and an overwhelming surge of relief. Mia was safe. Jonathan had found her, protected her. But at what cost? He had taken her. He owned her now. A wave of dread washed over her, mixing with overwhelming gratitude. You took her? Why? Because Petrov is a dog with a good scent. He would have found her. Used her to get to you. He knows you have information. Information that could ruin his plans. He would kill her without a second thought to silence you. And now, you are valuable. To me. His words were blunt, chillingly practical. He wasn't playing games. Leilani was a witness to a murder committed by a rival, a man who dared to challenge Jonathan's power. By saving her, Jonathan had gained a weapon against Petrov. And by taking Mia, he held the ultimate leverage. You will stay here. Under my protection. No one will touch you. No one will harm you again. No one will touch your sister. But you will not leave these walls. Not until Petrov is dealt with. And until then, you belong here. With me. His gaze was unyielding, demanding absolute submission. It was a statement, a decree. Her life, her sister's life, was now irrevocably entwined with his. She was under his command. Fear warred with a strange, dark sense of safety. He had undeniably taken her freedom, but in doing so, he had given her peace. He had given her sister's life. Leilani looked into his hard, unwavering eyes, seeing a world of danger, but also an impenetrable shield. A heavy, unbreakable promise. She was his. And in that moment, she knew, there was no escaping the powerful man who now claimed her. Days bled into weeks, then months. The lavish mansion, once a refuge, became Leilani's entire world. She moved through its vast, silent halls, a ghost in a gilded cage. Every comfort was provided: soft silk clothes, gourmet meals, books to read. But freedom was not among the luxuries. Guards, quiet and watchful, were always nearby, their presence a constant reminder of her confinement. She was safe, yes, but she was unequivocally not free. Her sister, Mia. The thought of her little sister was both her anchor and her most profound torment. Jonathan had said Mia was safe. But where? And how? The agonizing not knowing gnawed at her. She tried to appear calm, but inwardly, she was constantly gathering her strength, planning, observing. Every morning she would look at her reflection, seeing the faint shadows under her eyes, but also a growing resolve. She would not break. Not for Mia. Jonathan's presence, initially a source of pure dread, became a constant low hum in the background of her new life. He would appear in the drawing room, or the library, sometimes just watching her from a distance, sometimes engaging in brief, direct conversations. He rarely offered comfort, but his unwavering gaze held an intensity that was both unnerving and, in a strange way, a little comforting. He was a man of few words, but every single one carried immense weight. He was a man who kept his promises. His word was law. She started small, observing the staff, learning their names, their routines. She wasn't just a guest, she was a careful observer, taking in every detail of Jonathan's world, absorbing its brutal logic. The way his men moved with quiet efficiency, the unspoken commands, the layers of security. This was not chaos. This was a well-oiled machine, and Jonathan Nolan was its silent, powerful engine. She spent countless hours in the vast library, devouring books on law, business, and city politics. She was educating herself, sharpening her mind, preparing for a future she couldn't yet clearly see. Jonathan often worked in his study, and sometimes she would join him there, sketching or reading. They would sit in profound silence for long stretches, a strange, almost comfortable peace settling between them. He never pried into her thoughts, never demanded anything more than her silent presence. But she felt his gaze, a constant weight, a silent assessment. He was always watching, always protecting. The word mine still echoed, but now it felt less like a chain and more like an impenetrable shelter. A dangerous shelter, yes, but a shelter nonetheless. The Petrov reports. They mentioned a new development near the river. High-value land. What is he truly planning? Leilani surprised herself with the directness of her question, and Jonathan with her unexpected insight. He looked up from his papers, his dark eyes meeting hers. A flicker of something, surprise, perhaps even approval, crossed his formidable face. She wasn't just a witness anymore. She was starting to understand the deadly chess game of his world. He's trying to cut off my supply lines, to control the docks, the lifeblood of the city. If he gets that land, he controls the entire west side of the city's trade. He's trying to build an empire, Leilani. An empire he believes, foolishly, should be his. His tone was calm, factual, but the underlying threat was clear. Petrov was a direct, dangerous challenge to Jonathan's power. A war was brewing, and Leilani, against all odds, found herself caught in the chilling middle. But this time, she wasn't just a terrified victim running. She was a resource. She remembered the papers the murdered woman had clutched so desperately. She remembered details, minute specifics. The woman. She had maps. Not just of the river, but old city plans. Underground tunnels. A network that runs under the entire district, forgotten by most. Petrov was desperate to get them. He was using them to bypass something. To build without anyone knowing. To move things unseen. Jonathan's eyes narrowed, a sharp, dangerous glint of interest. Leilani's observation, her keen memory, had just given him a crucial, unexpected piece of the puzzle. He looked at her, a silent respect dawning in his intense gaze. She wasn't weak. She wasn't just a victim. She was intelligent, resourceful, a survivor, a valuable asset. Underground tunnels. That changes everything. He's trying to move his goods unchecked, bypassing all my surveillance, all my patrols. He's trying to circumvent my people completely. You have a good memory, Leilani. A very good memory indeed. His words were praise, a rare and powerful commodity from Jonathan Nolan. Leilani felt a strange warmth spread through her, a sense of value she hadn't felt in a very long time. She was contributing. She was not useless. She was not just a prisoner. She was part of the fight, and her insights were vital to him. The city was a vast, unforgiving chessboard, and Petrov was making bold moves. But Jonathan Nolan was not a man who ever lost. And now, he had Leilani, not just as a shielded possession, but as an unexpected, invaluable ally. A silent partner in his dangerous, intricate world. The line between captor and protector, between fear and connection, blurred a little more each day. She was still scared, still desperate for Mia, but she was also learning, adapting. And in Jonathan's gaze, she saw not just ownership, but a dawning recognition of her undeniable strength. The storm was coming, fierce and unforgiving, and she was, against all odds, ready. The confrontation with Petrov was swift, brutal, and decisive. Leilani, safe within the mansion walls, could feel the palpable tension in the air, the quiet hum of intense activity as Jonathan's forces moved. She watched from a secure window as sleek black vehicles departed and returned, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and strange anticipation. When Jonathan finally returned, his face was set, grim, but his eyes held the cold, victorious glint of a predator who had claimed its prey. He walked into his study, where she had been waiting, her hands clasped tightly. Petrov is finished. His operations are dismantled. His alliances broken. He will not trouble us again. Or anyone else. His words were delivered with a chilling finality that left no room for doubt. Leilani felt a wave of profound relief, quickly followed by a shiver of understanding. The danger was truly gone. She looked at him, seeing the undeniable ruthlessness, the quiet power that defined him. He had protected her, as he promised, and he had done so absolutely. Mia, can I see her now? Her voice was barely a whisper, fragile with hope. Jonathan's gaze softened almost imperceptibly, a rare, fleeting change in his hardened features. He took a step closer, gently cupping her jaw, his thumb brushing over her skin. His touch was firm, possessive, yet surprisingly tender. Soon, she is being brought here, to this house. She will be safe. You both will be. This is your home now, Leilani. Your sanctuary. And you are mine. His words, once a terrifying declaration of ownership, now resonated differently. They were a promise of absolute, unwavering protection, of belonging in a world where she had once been utterly alone. Leilani looked into his dark, intense eyes. She saw not just the dangerous man, the Shadow Lord, but the unexpected protector, the man who had given her a second chance, a new life carved from the ruins of her old one. She had found safety in the most unlikely of places, and love in the heart of a man feared by all. His world, once a prison, had become her destiny, a powerful, unbreakable bond. This journey, from a desperate escape to an unbreakable bond forged in fire, proves that sometimes the most dangerous paths lead to the most profound connections, to a love that defies all expectations. What moved you most about Leilani's incredible transformation, from a terrified victim to a resilient woman, or Jonathan's unwavering, possessive protection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Did you feel the growing tension and the undeniable, powerful pull between them as their worlds collided? We love hearing your reactions, your insights, your emotional responses. If you were captivated by Leilani's story of survival, unexpected love, and finding strength in the shadow of a powerful man, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tales of dark romance, redemption, and powerful connections that defy logic. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another thrilling, emotionally charged story like this one. Join our growing community of readers who crave high-stakes romance, unexpected twists, and unpredictable journeys into the hearts of dangerous men and resilient women. We have many more stories where powerful men find their match in fiercely capable women, and unlikely love blossoms in the most dangerous worlds. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next unforgettable story.